Well, there is a reason why the Marine Corps motto is Semper Fidelis, always faithful. It's because of how they perform their duties, from the Revolutionary War to Iwo Jima to the salute they give the president when he boards Marine One. President Trump will honor our military veterans in a Celebrate Freedom performance tonight at the Kennedy Center. Of course, stay tuned to Fox News for that. Today, our servicemen and women can be found far from home, of course, in hot spots around the world. And who better to talk about their sacrifices than our own Fox News military analyst, retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. We picked a pretty good location for you.
This is great. It's also the best spot to watch the fireworks on the 4th of July. So,
well, no wonder the Marines have it, right?
Exactly.
You know,
seize the hill.
As much as we are talking about the fight against ISIS, and we saw earlier the Prime Minister of Iraq say that essentially they believe they've kicked ISIS out of Mosul and have destroyed the caliphate, as they put it. The only U.S. troops who are sort of actively involved in combat against ISIS, not as advisors, are the Marines inside Syria.
Well, exactly. And of course, taking Raqqa is going to be the next step in this process of destroying what is left of the caliphate. The sad fact is that just destroying Raqqa, or seizing Raqqa, capturing and what's left of Mosul. I was out there in November, and you've seen, I'm sure most of our viewers have seen Dave Eubank, who was a hero as a former Army Ranger, former Army Special Forces officer, and now a missionary out there saving the lives of civilians. Mosul has been destroyed. It's still not...
There's not much left of the town.
No, there's not much, particularly on the West Bank, which is the major part of the city. The reality of where we're going in this, however, is not... Yes, we've got some Marines that are active in Syria. They're firing support for the troops that are going to take it, the Free Syrian Army. The reality, however, is that ISIS is not going to go away. The caliphate will be gone. But they're going to continue what they've been doing now for the last, basically since 2011. That's when they began. They put together the old al-Qaeda in Iraq and converted that into ISIS.
Well, they have been unique, whether it was from al-Qaeda in Afghanistan to al-Qaeda in Iraq, from al-Qaeda in Iraq to ISIS, from ISIS in Syria to ISIS in Libya. They've been unique in their ability to sort of be Hydra-like as they morph.
And you know that from being out in the Jerusalem Bureau for so long. The reality is that I see a merger happening with ISIS and al-Qaeda.
What's the answer? Well,
the answer is you can never again allow a safe haven for terrorists. Number two, everybody has got to be concerned about this. The good news is that we saw the president out there working with our Arab allies. The Israelis are still going to be our closest allies out there.
I want to get to you on this.
Yeah.
This was a president who ran on, let's get us out of wars in the Middle East. And you talk about not denying a safe haven. Let's just go through the countries that are failed states that are safe havens. Yemen.
Yeah, sure.
Libya.
Absolutely.
Syria certainly is on its way to being a failed state. Many would argue it is. Somalia, failed state. What is the answer? If it's not U.S. boots on the ground, well, what do we do?
Well, as you know, this week we had Secretary Mattis, Secretary of Defense, over at Brussels working with our NATO allies. They're going to increase their commitment to it. The number two, they're going to start spending more on defense. Number three, you've got to build the kinds of coalitions in the places where these things happen. And so our Arab allies are going to have to be a part of that. We've just seen the rest of the Arab allies line up against Qatar, because Qatar, not just Al Jazeera, but Qatar broadly has been supporting the Muslim Brotherhood and, if you will, the most radical elements of Sunni Islam. Ultimately, the big problem is going to be Iran. We're going to have to deal with a nuclearized Iran, and that's a scary proposition.
Well, scary indeed, and your Marines will be on the front lines against any of those threats. Colonel North, always a pleasure, sir.
First to fight, Semper Fi.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much.